The Battle of Borodino, fought in 1812 during Napoleon's ill-fated invasion of Russia, stands as one of the bloodiest conflicts in history, earning it the ominous title of Napoleon's Bloodiest Battle. This pivotal engagement took place on September 5, 1812, near the village of Borodino, situated west of Moscow. The campaign itself was part of the larger Napoleonic Wars, a series of conflicts that spanned over a decade and reshaped the political landscape of Europe. Napoleon Bonaparte, at the height of his power, sought to expand his empire and assert dominance over Russia. However, the Battle of Borodino would prove to be a turning point, foreshadowing the ultimate failure of Napoleon's Russian campaign and the beginning of his downfall. The stage for the Battle of Borodino was set by a series of strategic maneuvers and engagements. In June 1812, Napoleon led the Grande Armée, a multinational force composed of soldiers from various European nations under French command, into Russia. The invasion was characterized by its sheer scale, with hundreds of thousands of troops crossing the Niemen River. As the French advanced, the Russian army, commanded by General Mikhail Kutuzov, adopted a strategy of strategic retreat, employing scorched earth tactics to deprive the invading forces of vital resources. The Russian military, recognizing the vastness of their homeland and the harsh Russian winter as their ally, aimed to wear down the French through attrition. By the time both armies converged near Borodino in early September, tensions had reached a boiling point. The Battle of Borodino unfolded on the vast plains surrounding the village, with the sheer size of the battlefield accommodating the massive armies involved. Napoleon's forces, numbering around 130,000 troops, faced off against Kutuzov's Russian army, which fielded approximately 120,000 soldiers. The clash marked the culmination of weeks of strategic maneuvering and skirmishes, as both sides positioned themselves for a decisive confrontation. The battlefield at Borodino was characterized by its undulating terrain, with ridges and valleys contributing to the complexity of the engagement. The Russian defensive line, anchored by the Bagratian Fletches in the south and the Revsky Redoubt in the center, posed a formidable obstacle for the advancing French forces. The redoubts, fortified positions equipped with artillery and manned by determined Russian defenders, became focal points of intense fighting. The battle unfolded in a series of bloody and brutal exchanges, with both sides committing their troops to the fray. One of the key features of the Battle of Borodino was the ferocity and tenacity displayed by both the French and Russian soldiers. The combatants engaged in close-quarters combat, with musket volleys, bayonet charges, and artillery barrages creating a maelstrom of violence. The casualties on both sides were staggering, and the fields of Borodino became a grim tableau of death and suffering. The wounded, lying amidst the carnage, bore witness to the brutality of war as the battle raged on for hours. The Revsky Redoubt, at the heart of the Russian defensive line, witnessed some of the most intense fighting of the day. The French, under the command of Marshal Michael Ney, launched repeated assaults on the redoubt, only to be met with resolute Russian resistance. The redoubt changed hands multiple times throughout the course of the battle, each transfer accompanied by a heavy toll in lives. The struggle for control of the redoubt encapsulated the tenacity of the soldiers on both sides as they fought tooth and nail for a strategic advantage. As the sun set on the blood-soaked fields of Borodino, the toll of the battle became apparent. Estimates suggest that the French suffered around 30,000 casualties, while the Russian losses were similarly devastating. The exact figures remain a subject of historical debate, but it is widely accepted that both armies sustained massive losses. The wounded lay scattered across the battlefield, and the dead were left to a nightmarish landscape of destruction. The aftermath of Borodino painted a vivid picture of the human cost of war, with the wounded crying out in pain and the fallen silent in death. Despite the staggering casualties, neither side achieved a decisive victory at Borodino. Both Napoleon and Kutuzov claimed a measure of success, but the strategic realities of the campaign weighed heavily on the French. Napoleon, facing the prospect of a long and harsh Russian winter without a clear victory, found himself in a precarious position. The Russian army, although bloodied and battered, maintained its cohesion and retreated further into the vastness of the Russian hinterlands. The Battle of Borodino, in retrospect, can be seen as a Pyrrhic victory for Napoleon. While the French forces remained on the field at the end of the day, their losses were unsustainable in the context of the broader campaign. The Grande Armée, depleted and demoralized, continued its advance towards Moscow, but the Russian strategy of scorched earth tactics and strategic retreats took a toll on the invaders. The Russian capital, occupied by Napoleon in early September, did not provide the triumphant culmination he had envisioned. Instead, Moscow became a symbol of the challenges and hardships that awaited the French army. The impact of the Battle of Borodino reverberated beyond its immediate aftermath. The Russian winter, coupled with the logistical challenges of maintaining a vast army deep in enemy territory, further eroded the strength of the Grande Armée. As Napoleon's forces retreated from Moscow in October 1812, they faced not only the relentless pursuit of the Russian army, but also the harsh conditions of a Russian winter. The infamous retreat from Moscow became a desperate struggle for survival, with the elements, hunger, and constant harassment by Russian forces taking a heavy toll on the retreating French soldiers. By the time the remnants of the Grande Armée crossed the Niemen River in December 1812, the once mighty force had been reduced to a fraction of its former strength. The Russian campaign, which had begun with grand ambitions of conquest, ended in a catastrophic failure for Napoleon. The Battle of Borodino, as the largest and bloodiest engagement of the campaign, played a crucial role in shaping the course of events. The toll exacted by Borodino, both in terms of human lives and strategic implications, marked a turning point in the Napoleonic Wars. The Battle of Borodino's historical significance extends beyond its immediate impact on the Napoleonic Wars. It stands as a testament to the brutality of 19th-century warfare and the human cost of ambitious military campaigns. The battlefield, once a site of ferocious combat, is now a solemn memorial to the thousands who perished in the conflict. Borodino serves as a cautionary tale of the perils of overextending military ambitions and underestimating the challenges posed by the vastness of Russia and its harsh climate. In conclusion, the Battle of Borodino occupies a prominent place in the annals of military history. It was a clash of titans, pitting two of the era's greatest military minds, Napoleon and Kutuzov, against each other on the blood-soaked fields near Moscow. The battle's legacy endures as a cautionary tale of the human cost of war and the unpredictable nature of military campaigns. As the world remembers the events of September 5, 1812 at Borodino, it reflects not only on the courage and sacrifice of the soldiers